but this is some things you can tell these people. Multiple suppliers, right? At the OE, we've got multiple suppliers, economics, technology, technique. All those are variables and they can always be hidden with a proper blend. We have variant offers, standard blue. I should have made some paint pen come up here and talk about this crap. Where are my paint pens at? Standard blue or yellow or darker. Dahara, you got anything to talk about? You know I don't even like paint, so you got anything to say about paint?
No, just that whenever you have to blend, yes, you have to look at a chart like this so that way you can understand color a little bit better.
Correct.
But you have your variances and now you have a camera, so if you're utilizing the camera and you're doing a spray out and you keep that library cabinet well, organized and your colors all in the right place, you can always go back to your panel. You don't always have to tint a color every time, because there's no reason to be tinting colors every time. There's no reason to be using the camera every time if you're a paint technician and you have a very good color library already set up. There's some facilities here in town that have good color libraries. We went to one and the painter has a lock on his library cabinet. He won't let anyone in it. But when you open it, you ought to see how organized, and I'm talking panels, nicely clear coated with 2 coats of clear, proper documentation. So yeah, you do have to blend if you're a painter that doesn't know how to keep good color documentation.
It's true.
I don't get a lot of pushback on that.
I don't know if y'all still in Dallas. I hear they like to try to panel paint white and black, which is just insane because there's more variance on white and black than there actually is of any color.
And that's the black has metallic.
Yeah.
White will blend, but not black unless it has metallic.
So I'm going to update this slide because this is the thing that I'd like to show insurance people. Because again, one of the things I always heard, and hopefully it's better now, is that they come at you and say, oh, you don't need to blend black, right? Or white, which I don't think I've got a white, I don't. But you'll find when you look at these things from the manufacturer, there's 62 variances of WA8555. That's black, right? So how you panel paint that when you got that many variants? It's funny that, and again, some of this stuff, they're not going to want to hear it. We'll have an updated slide for this that we're pulling that information from. But when they say, oh, it's just black, well, how come black's got 62 variants and green or whatever only has 19, right? So there's that. Pigments, I mean, look, this is great information, I guess, for y'all, but it's probably not going to help us much. Pigments, there's 10,000 available, only 2,000 are suitable for car refinishing. Most refinishing mixing systems use 50 to 60 pigment selections to approximate colors to within 0.5%, right? Batches of pigment vary from shipment to shipment, but they all fall within acceptable range. We talked about that earlier. The crap comes out of the ground. It's not the same, right? Everywhere you go. It just falls within a parameter. The other piece that comes into play, you're trying to match a car that was sprayed by a robot, okay, that keeps their gun or whatever it is they use to apply the paint at the exact same distance, at the exact same pressure, with the exact same nozzle. There is no variable at the factory. When cars are getting painted in your shop, there's a human holding a gun. No matter how good your painter is, it's going to vary as he goes across or she goes across the car, right? It's just that simple. There's a lot of variables when we're redoing them versus trying to duplicate what robots do, right? All these things come into play: solvent selection, air movement, pressure, tempo, temperature, fluid delivery, distance. All those things are part of what can change a color on a car, right? And make the metallics sit lower or higher in the paint. Yeah, it can make it flip like this, right? So the color looks great, right? But when we open the door in that cloudy day, it's like 2 shades different. Well, the color's actually on, the metallic is off. That's what's causing that problem, right?
Like the newer Camaros on the quarter panel?
Yes, like the newer Camaros on the quarter panel. So when it comes to blending, why gamble? This is a very low guesstimate. But if you, on an average $1,500 repair order, which is a below average, a small job, would you not agree? On a $1,500 job that has $225 worth of paint labor, $135 of material, and a measly net of $150, if we repair it, our repair cost is $360. Our first repair plus our second repair brings us to 720. The 720 divided by 150 equals 4.8 repairs before we break even. So what that stat is telling you is I'm going to have to do 5 more $1,500 jobs that have a mix that's close to that mix to get back to break even when you redo it once. Redo it twice, and then just keep mapping it out. Now you need 10. You see what I'm saying? So, like it says, why gamble? It doesn't make any sense to gamble if you have to pull the car back in and spray it again. You've basically lost your ass over the next 5 jobs from a math standpoint, right?
So
And
yeah,
actually, people smarter than me will tell you actually never get back to break even. It's actually not mathematically possible.
How many of y'all in here have a painter that uses the car as a test panel? Oh, I didn't get the car right. Let me paint it again. Never will you have a spray out. You're better off doing a spray out. It's the cost of a little spray out versus the whole car. It's exactly what Greg's talking about.
For sure. Okay, so we beat up blending, right? I don't think I've got to tell anybody in here, and I'm sure that's not what it's about. But anytime you get into this deal where you're going to blend, you got to look and see if there's dings and nicks or scratches, right, that we're going to end up painting over, and make a decision if you're going to upsell that to your customer, or if, again, I'm not a fan of doing free shit, but if that's something that you guys, like to do, and you want to sell it to them that you're going to take care of something for them, so you get the benefit of doing some free stuff, then that's fine, right? I don't have the color of Maze's card, and I don't have that. All this technical stuff doesn't matter very much. So here's interesting from the ASA, and by the way, they've updated this. I'm going to put it in the new class. They've added a couple steps. But for those of you who are out there fighting the insurance companies and they want to tell you that they're going to give you partial refinish on a repaired panel, right, because we're only going to put color on part of it, right? This ASA published this and they've updated it now. Here's the 38 steps that it requires to repair and paint a repaired panel versus the 21 it takes to repair and paint a new panel. They ain't going to like it. They probably aren't going to roll over when you give it to them either. But just so you know, partial refinish is total bullshit. Just so you know. I mean, it's literally some made-up crap that Progressive made up. There's actually a letter that floats around our industry where they initially put this stuff out. So
Greg,
it's all garbage.
Go back one slide to the poster.
Yeah.
Have any of y'all seen this poster before? It's good to have it in your office because it just shows, why is it that the bumper...
Oh, it's a plastic to metal thing?
Yes. And it's always good to point out to the customer when they bring you the vehicle that if you're repairing the back end of the car, take them and show them the front end how there is going to be already a color difference. Kind of inform them, and communicate with the customer a little bit. Because the insurance company may pay just for you to do that rear bumper. So you have to explain to the customer ahead of time, when we're done with the vehicle, maybe it's not going to be a perfect match, but it's going to be just as close as the front. You tell the customer that, they're happy all day long.
It's just a little bit of expectation, and you may not be in as big of a. Hopefully, most of you are having that conversation, right, with people when they come in that their plastic already doesn't match the metal because it doesn't from the factory, right? But it's still
Yes.
Just a letter from Hammer and Dolly on Feather Prime and Block. It's very old. Basically, that letter nothing's changed though. Feather Prime and Block is not an included operation. It never has been. It never will be. You should be billing for that on every single job that you have repair on, right? Some other stuff, and again, this stuff is just for y'all. You can go back and look at the CIC. And we're going to actually add a lot more to this class with references from the SCRS and other people too. So the next go around, you'll have some different takeaways. Okay, so negotiations. I know I'm standing between you and beer. So here's what I want to tell you about negotiations. And I've said this a little bit already. And I don't think it's going to get me where I want to. So here's where we lose. Okay, and I've already said this. I'm going to say it one more time, and then we're going to go get beer. I've said that a couple times too. What you need to focus on is being prepared, right? What we are not most of the time is prepared for the negotiation. So all these things we've talked about in the class, and there's more of them out there, from scanning to invoicing to whatever, get in measuring. Hopefully that maxima maybe scared a couple of you into thinking about, I need to look into a measuring system, I would hope, if you don't have one already. But my point is to prepare yourself for the negotiation with the insurance adjuster, and do that by gathering all of the tools or the paperwork that you can that supports what you're asking for. If it's suspension, an alignment printout, structure printouts, anything, invoices from scanning to you name it, or the results from the scanning that says you've got to do this, this, or this, or OEM procedures, or an OEM position statement, or the P pages, whatever source it is that you need to help justify or back up what you're about to tell this person, you need to have that and be ready. That is the answer to the test. What we normally do is we're just caught up in our whirlwind, we call in for a supplement, people show up and we're just not ready, right? Maybe we haven't even gone out there in some cases and really looked over the car with the tech. It happens, right? They show up quicker maybe than we think. I can tell you back in the day, before DRPs, remember when State Farm a car would come in from State Farm, but you had the State Farm supplement sheet, right? Anybody remember that shit? Phil, I know you do. And you'd fill out the supplement sheet and you'd fax it in, right? So you could get the ball rolling on them coming out to look at the car, but it took them 3 days to come out. So it was this is at Sewell Cadillac in Dallas. It was our process. As soon as the State Farm car came in, we would fill out the supplement sheet, make some shit up, fax it to them so we could get the ball rolling, so we could get the time going, right? And get them on the way out. And then here's the problem with that. What would happen a lot of times is they would show up before I actually went out there and looked at the car and got myself in tune with what was going on. The next thing you know, I'm out there with the adjuster and he's like, why, and I can't answer anything because I haven't even looked at this car. It's never happened to you though, has it, Phil? Okay. Just me. So being prepared is the name of the game. This photo thing is not going to go away. So I'm going to show you these few slides real quick and talk to you really quickly about photo. I already said at the beginning of class, remember, photo is to your advantage. Some people in here already agreed with me with that. There's a lot less pushback if you're prepared and you send them good photos. I just want to tell you, there's a customer of ours in California that's how big is Pride? 6 shops, something like that. Anyway, big independent MSO out there. He has sent all of his estimators or anybody that has to do with this portion to a photography class. So they are actually better at taking pictures. They understand how the lighting works to get the picture that they need. So it justifies it easier so when it goes up. So with that said, remember we're a Dutch company, so I got these freaking European cars in here. So if you were to look at this tailgate right there, how many hours would you put on that tailgate?
I wouldn't. Hard to put a new one on.
I might agree with you, but that picture doesn't justify it really to me. I don't think you could sell it to an adjuster like that. I think the adjuster is going to come back and tell you, I'll put 5 hours on that thing. I understand. I totally agree with you, by the way. But my point is this.
And I would do that.
Yeah.
And then call someone.
And then call it someone. But instead of doing that, why don't we just head it off at the pass, right? So here's the deal. Now, this is another picture they sent in. What would you give me then? There's no pointless. Why even send me that picture? It doesn't even show the damage, right? No wonder the insurance company comes back and says, screw you, I'm not giving you anything, right? So this one, I'm still at 5 hours, right? Again, Phil,
It's not justice.
it's not justified, right? I still can't justify it. And this guy's tried really hard, right? He's really trying hard. Now, I can see there's damage all in there, right? Now, how about that?
Nice.
Change the lighting and poof,
All right,
guess
Bert.
what? It needs a tailgate. No one's going to argue that, right? Do you see my point? So, had we just sent in the correct photos that justifies what we need, the pushback is less, right? There's a couple photos in there we couldn't even see the damage, right? And I would argue as an industry, again, I'm not privy to everything you guys and gals do at your shop, but as an industry, we send in more photos that look like this than what we do that look like this, that justify what we need, right? So, man, I just say this, they're not that freaking smart over there. Be smarter than them. You know, they're really not. They're not that smart. You know, it's kind of embarrassing, really, that we're in the spot that we're in. You know, another thing, I know they don't like this, but trying to show a scratch. You know, if you killed it, put something in front of it, it'll show it. They use these all the time. It's funny when sometimes when we use them, they don't like it, right? But if you put I see insurance adjusters with those glued to the back of their
Progressive.
yeah, their deal all the time, right? Their little clipboard, right? Actually, it's a good tool for us. I know State Farm won't allow it, or somebody won't allow it to be in the picture, or something that they used to. Which one was it? They wouldn't let your finger be in it, or nothing? It was State Farm. Have they changed that now? No, they're still stupid about it? Okay. All right, so that's really all I had. Did y'all have any questions?